Hey, what's up everyone? Kevin Benny back again. This week I want to talk about something that's been on my mind a lot at gigs when I'm improvising. And it's this concept of the difference between anticipating music and reacting to music, especially as an improvising musician. So a couple weeks ago, after my snowboarding trip, I was at a gig and I found it a little hard to react to the music. And I'll talk about reacting to music in a second here. This gig, it was just me and a DJ, and in that situation, yes, it's popular music, so it's a little easier to go along and react to the music with your ears. But with playing with a DJ, songs change very instantly when you're not expecting it. Songs will be dubbed on top of other songs. Songs will just shift keys sometimes. And all these things, they happen in real time, and you don't expect them as a performer unless the DJ was kind of in your ear telling you what's next. So in that situation, you have to use your ears, react, and play along with the music as convincingly as you can. So here I go today with distinguishing the difference between anticipating music and reacting to music as an improvising musician. Stick around throughout the video because I'm gonna share a really cool free online resource that is really great for improvisers, especially for ear training. So first I'm gonna talk about anticipating music. And I think that concept, anticipating music, is what most musicians and non-musicians understand. You learn a part, you practice a part, and you go out and perform it. So you're able to anticipate that entire performance. Now, as an improvising musician, we will learn a set of chord changes and then learn how to improvise over them and then go out and perform. Now, although we are improvising our melodic ideas, the chord changes are predetermined and we're able to anticipate these chord changes and these progressions. This is how most of us learn how to improvise, especially with play-along books like Jamey Aebersold. You get a predetermined set of chord changes and then you learn how to solo over them. And the key word is predetermined, so you're able to anticipate all the chord changes as you play along with these play-along tracks. An example would be if I just improvise over, right now, a set of chord changes that are already predetermined in my head, so I'm able to anticipate those chord changes. So I'll demonstrate that right now. I'll move the camera a little bit. Now, when you play solo, you're basically always going to be anticipating the music because it's starting within your head. There's no outside musicians that are going to affect your music. There's nothing that you're going to react to outside of your mind and your instrument. So let's talk about reacting to music. Reacting to music as an improviser basically implies you're hearing the music that's going on around you and you're making some type of sense of it in your mind so you are able to process it and add to the ultimate musical product with your instrument or your voice in some tasteful way, what you deem tasteful. So you're basically hearing the music, the chords, the harmony around you, and you're immediately reacting and communicating with the accompaniment. An example of this would be if, a horn player's at a jam session and they're playing along to a tune they know, and then the keys player goes off in some type of vamp that they never heard before, but they're still expected to solo and improvise over it. So they have to react and figure out, okay, what's going on there, and then play on top of that vamp. Or say you're playing a tune like How High the Moon, and you know the chords. It goes G major 7 to G minor 7, C7, F major 7, okay? So that's in your mind, you know that, and that's usually what you'll play at a jam session. But say you got that in your mind, and then the keyboard player plays, pianist plays. So right there, the pianist put in this F major 7 with a sharp 5. So ideally, you want to react to that and you want to communicate with what's going there so you can grab that chord in real time and play that color over that chord. So that's basically reacting to music in its simplest form, I think. Now, being able to react to the music is highly reliant on your ears, and you develop your ears through ear training. If you don't know what ear training is, it's basically the practice that develops your ability to identify different aspects in music with just your ears. So you're able to hear and identify, say, chords, harmonies, intervals, pitches, rhythms, and this is all, again, with just your ears. Now for me, as an improviser, ear training goes hand in hand with the connection of my voice and my instrument. Over the years, I've practiced building this connection where if I can hear something or if I can sing something, I'm able to play it. And if I can't hear it or sing it, I'm probably not going to be able to play it on my instrument. And as long as I'm practicing on a consistent basis, that connection seems to get stronger over time. A big part of being able to recognize chords or react to chords is to be able to arpeggiate these chords on my instrument or your instrument. Because what happens is I memorize the sound of these arpeggios, the sound that the melody makes of these arpeggios. And I devote them to my ear and my voice. And once it gets put into my ear, I pretty much remember it for life. I mean, there's studies with people with Alzheimer's where they're able to recall these songs that they loved when they were a kid, but they can't remember, their child's name. So there's something with that. If you're able to hear something, it is locked into your memory and you're able to recall these things extremely fast to be able to react to music. So if you want to start to learn some of these arpeggios to be able to react to chords, I have a PDF that has the basic triads in a very streamlined way. So if you want to get a hold of that, be sure to subscribe to my email list. You'll be able to do that in the description below. On that PDF, it also has some really great ways to keep yourself maintained as an instrumentalist. It is saxophone focused, but you can do it with any instrument. So be sure to check that out and subscribe to my email list. Okay, so finally, here is that free program that I talked about in the beginning of the video. That's really great for improvisers, really great for your ears. I fairly recently found this, and it's called Online Ear Trainer 3.0, and it's at iwasdoingallright.com. So the interface is really simple here. We got intervals, chords, melodies, progressions. It's all random, or you can be as specific as you want by just clicking on any of these boxes. Intervals, chords. It's kind of cool because it has more of the more difficult sounding chords like minor major 7 or major 7 sharp 5, things like that. Melodies, what's great about this is you can choose from specific scales, like diminished scale, altered scale, whole tone scale. So if you're having issues with any of those scales, you can just click on these boxes here. Let's try this thing called jazz licks. It seems like it has simple jazz lines in this algorithm and it randomizes it. So I'll give it a go. So, and then you can just press the space bar to go to the next one so you don't have to look at what's on the screen. Just like that, it's really simple. I mean, it takes a while to get your ears flowing, and you can make it a longer melody, short melody, kind of cool. This single note one is what I work on the most because I'm terrible at it. Because it's just completely random notes all over the place. Ready? That wasn't too bad. That was kind of chromatic. One more. That. Oh, I did it right. Wow, okay. Cool. So let's go to the chords. This one I work on the most. I hold it on the bass note and I try to arpeggiate what's going on. Oh, that was a flat 5. I did a flat 9. Whoops. One more. Cool. So there you go. Now, the progressions, this one you can be as random as possible too, and this one's probably the most difficult because it's hard to be melodic over completely random chords that don't relate to each other. So I'll give it a go. It's going to be kind of not that flowing because I got to stop and listen every time a new chord change happens. Kind of like a souped up version of the chords. So let's give it a go. So there you go. That actually wasn't as difficult as, let's do this, than it usually is. But ear training for me is probably the hardest thing. I always have to work on it. It's probably the last thing I developed as a musician, I'd say. So I hope this program helps. I hope this video kind of gets you thinking. And if you like the video, definitely subscribe, and I'll keep making videos like this. Thank you guys so much. Subscription button's gonna be right there, and I will see you next week.